It's important to travel and visit, and not only as a tourist. I think you need to put in a place to immerse in a culture, learn it, hear the people, avoiding your perception of social classes, and learn not only for the seller in the street, but also with the son of ambassador.
Hi, and welcome to the There's Another Way podcast with me, Adam Halverson.
And me, Pete Dolby. And you've come to the place where each episode will be shining a light on authentic people who have chosen an alternative path to their new normal to find another way.
Hey everyone. Today we have the immense privilege to be joined by Roberto Velez, an entrepreneur and real business brain who helps businesses become more efficient and sustainable. Born and raised in central Colombia, his family have produced high-quality coffee beans from their independent farm for more than 3 generations. But we hear how his country's instability and a horrifyingly dangerous incident ultimately drove him and his family to seek a new life in Spain. We learn what makes Roberto tick and how he ended up driving tanks in Lebanon. A fascinating insight to a fascinating life so far, and we hope you enjoy this conversation on There's Another Way.
Fantastic, Roberto. Thank you very much for joining us. So we have a bit of an ad hoc There's Another Way session this evening. So
Ad
hoc. So we're very grateful for you being a great sport and taking the time to do this. Just for the audience, we're in a little bit of an unusual location. So we're actually in a lounge with kids playing Xboxes, wind blowing down the chimney.
Red kites flying over.
Red kites flying everywhere, people drinking wine in the background. So it's a slightly different format, but maybe a new one for the future. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for this invitation. It's quite a surprise for me also to be here, but I'm so excited about it. Yeah. More than happy to share experiences, thinkings, insights. So
amazing.
Let's go.
Fantastic. So some context here. So Roberto's wife, Maria Victoria, is over from Barcelona. Roberto decided to join him. So we're doing some genuine work. But then we had a discussion today and we thought, hey, why not? After the rich conversation we've been having all day. So look, usually the way we go with this, very informal. We just start from the beginning. So just where was home, a little bit of childhood insights, and then we just free flow from there. So
okay. Well, starting from where I'm living right now, I'm living in Barcelona. I moved there I'm living there since 2013. Actually, I was living before in Madrid. Originally, I'm from Colombia. I'm 38 years old, and now my professional career is more related with innovation and business design. Previously, I have a background in supply chain management, but also I learned all of this in the army. I spent 6 years in the army, in the Spanish army, in the ground forces, in the logistic area, where I made my studies in my career. And after these 6 years, spending 2 missions in the south of Lebanon. Now it's a very conflictive area right now. There is controlling this Hezbollah and a traditional conflict there. More in the humanitarian part of the activity. I decided to pass or cross to the private sector. So after this experience, I moved to Barcelona, started to study there with a master in supply chain management, spending a lot of time in companies, in huge corporations like CR Bar, that is a healthcare manufacturer. After that, I moved to Unilever in the supply chain area too. And another experience more related with logistics, I spent 3 years as a project manager for Mecalux, that is a big company for warehouse automation. But at some point I saw that it's very traditional companies, very structured companies, and so I decided to make another step of change of my life. And I think I convinced myself, and I saw in examples of other people, that the best way to change and make this leap of faith, it's through study. So I decided to make another master, this time in innovation and business strategy, also in Barcelona. And well, this opened a new framework for me in this business and innovation area, where I decided to continue develop my career. So I exploring also myself in my origins are from Colombia, so I exploring opportunities to improve the supply chain and value chains from coffee that I think now in Europe it's a huge trend that it's growing the consume of specialty coffees, not only here in UK, but if you go to countries like in the Nordic countries or even in the South, there is a huge consumption and also a huge trend to find a good taste of coffee. I think it's trying to find a sweet spot combining my professional side with my passion and my family, because as I came from Colombia and I'm the fourth generation of coffee producers there, so I want to combine these two passions and find a good opportunity, not only for business, but also to find a way to make a just business for everything, for not only for the producers, but also for the consumers to have a good coffee, a really good coffee. So I'm developing this right now, exploring these opportunities there, and well, more than happy to share. And
yeah, amazing. So I guess you've touched on a few things in terms of, so I guess almost you're sort of looking to intertwine your roots with, I guess, what you've learned over the years. So just, I mean, I'm fascinated. I haven't been to Colombia. I have a friend who lives there. He lives in Medellin. But I guess I'd be really interested to hear about, if it's okay, just to understand your childhood, sort of what was life as a child like growing up in Colombia, and whereabouts was it? And,
Well, I'm born in 1986, so my period of time in Colombia was very convulsive. It is the era of Pablo Escobar, so was pretty intense. Also, at the end of the 19th, the country was a failed state almost. I remember the death of Pablo Escobar was a huge topic, and also we as a Colombian try to avoid to talk of him because it's really painful for the people. Sometimes I remember when I was in the India a couple of years ago, when people, Pablo Escobar is a hero, he was the Robin Hood for the poor, and no, this is a wrong idea that people have from him. He was a very bad person, but well, that is the context where I grew up, the guerrilla and all these kind of conflicts. Also, my family, my mom and I decided to move to Spain because we have a very shocking experience. The guerrilla tried to kidnap my sister and this stuff, and well, we decided to, okay, this is not the country where I want to grow up.
Wow.
It's a beautiful country. The landscapes, the nature, the people, the kindness of the people, the good people are there, the food, the fruits. Well, it's an endless list of good characteristics. But well, you have the other side of the coin, that is this part and this violence period that mark a lot of generation, a lot of family. So, well, after was great to grow there.
So what age were you there from?
From like 4 years 5 years when I start to study more or less and cross all my school there. And at the end, I finished my high school, and I decided to move to Barcelona in 2003.
Okay. So you were there for a good part of your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was the location? What was the area?
Manizales. That is the coffee region from Colombia. There is like a triangle between three main cities. That is Armenia, Pereira, and Manizales. It's in the middle of Colombia. Colombia has three main mountains. That is belongs to the Indian Andes Cordillera. So we are in the middle, and this town it's above 2,000 meters of the sea level, and it's beautiful. The city is amazing. We have a conflict, my wife and I, because this not. She says it's not a city. She says a small town because it's no more than 500 people, 500,000 people. So, but it was amazing because I think one of the characteristics of the people there is very welcome. I think the city, they describe as the city of the open doors. So we all know everything about the families, the people that live there. So we have a lot of activities also. So I grew myself in coffee lands with animals, with very traditional people also. So yeah, it was a great place to live, but with the side of the violence, but it was a compensation with the life.
And did a lot of people that you knew and grew up with, did they look at moving abroad as well, or was it just you and your family that moved, or did many people do the same?
At the time, a lot of people tried to get out of Colombia. Actually, in the airport, there was a sign that they say the last person that leave the country, please turn the lights off.
Oh.
It's because it was a wave of migration. They trying to pursue at the time the American dream. But actually, my family tried to obtain the visa from the US, but was a big mistake for us. So we have my grandfather was from Spain, so we obtained the nationality, and was much that easy to move to Spain. But yes, there's a lot of people to move. Actually, some friends from my friends go abroad, mostly to US.
Okay. And so Spain was where you decided to head to, and was that? Did you know where you wanted to end up in Spain? Was Barcelona always number one, or did you just?
We arrived first to Madrid.
Okay.
It was the big city, and also where my dad have a friend in the embassy there, so they help us to reach some papers. These bureaucratic things to the first time you arrive to another country that you don't know what to do, where to the school, how to work, where to work. I think it's a situation that all people to migrate in difficult situations sometimes have to confront. So it's a hard period, I think, trying to adapt. I think the age that I was at that time was very, very hard also because it was in the high school. So sometimes the kids are so cruel also, but well, you have to adapt and move forward. I don't want to be in the school. I want to produce, I want to work, I want to study. So I start to working in restaurants, I start to study by myself, the next level of degrees. So at that point I decide, the army is a good option for me. They provide me a good education. They provide me also, it was an interest for me to participate in humanitarian missions abroad. So I present to the army, and I consider myself in a good physical and intellectual position. And at the beginning I started to present exams, and I arrived in February and was entering to the military academy in April. So it was very, very fast. So I spent 4 to 6 months in Toledo, that is the training base. And after that I moved to Madrid, that was the main base and the study. I don't was in the front fight forces. I was in the support, in the logistics. So this allowed me to learn a lot of operations, project management abilities, and also people management. So these are very complementary, not only for the studies, but also with the practical ways of work.
But I guess as well, sort of dealing with the violence and I guess challenges in Colombia, I suppose moving to a new country, trying to fit in with a new job or a new environment, I guess there was still a side where you were like, you know what, this isn't so difficult compared to my sister being kidnapped.
Yeah, well, it's very different, but also you exchange your family for your safety at some point.
Yeah.
I think I was very young to understand that at that point, but I think that change allows me to reach a level of maturity different from my age or the rest of the average people of my age. So I think I consider an advantage at that time.
Yeah, and I guess I'm sensing you sort of were able to turn a difficult situation into a positive.
Yeah. I try to. I think I discovered after analyze myself that is an advantage from myself to say, okay, every bad situation have a good side.
Yeah.
So try to bring this and make the best of that.
I'm just wondering if I'm going to do that English dad thing where you speak in someone else's accent but speak in English. Am I doing that so far?
No. Champions League.
Yeah, exactly. My dad does it when he goes to France. It's really cringing. I'm just wondering if I'm going to do it. But
give it 10 more minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what gravitated you towards the military? It just, again, like you said, you knew you'd get a good education, or was there anything else that interested you in it?
Well, in part of, but the other side was since my young age, I always saw, for the country situation, I always saw the military people and the soldiers and also generals. I saw it like with admiration's eyes because, well, they keep our safe. Yeah, in Colombia, I don't know if in other countries, but in Colombia, the military forces have a very good perception, the defense forces. So, and the people really like the army. It's a personal perception. I don't know. After 20 years out of my country, living in Spain, I don't know if it's the perception that is current perception. But since I was very very young, I was very curious about the army. So when I arrived to Spain, they have a lack of troops in a way to say. So I decided to present myself. They put me a lot of options. They say, okay, you can go to this unit, but I don't want to go to the really fighting force. Mm-hmm. No, I decided I need project myself more than this, and I decided to go to the support force that is more like a headquarters, more logistics, more strategic operations ambitions of the army. So yeah, it was a complementary because in Spain they have this professional side of the army that they provide you with technical knowledge, management knowledge, administrative knowledge, and teaching this kind of stuff. So I consider myself as a privileged person because I have a very good ranks, people with higher ranks than myself that saw my potential at that time. So they put me in some positions that, okay, you are very good on this. You could be. Actually, I have a couple of medals from the army. One of with the white distinguished, that is from high performance in the studies or defense and improve the quality of the army and operations. And the other one is from peacekeeper. One of the missions, for the first mission I spent in Lebanon. That was I think was the first contingent that went to Lebanon that time in 2008.
Wow.
Wow.
And so it sounds like you came from Colombia with, I guess, a decent education. So like when you applied for the army, did you do assessments? Did they try and understand sort of where your education was at, or?
Yes. Actually, well, was a private education in Colombia.
Uh-huh.
In Colombia, well, the public system is not okay in education so far. So I have that privilege from my family efforts and very good education through Catholic systems also.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have to spend some exams, language exams, maths exams, physics. So all this kind of, when you try to achieve the university and pass this kind of test. So well, I passed with good results, I think.
Brilliant. And you enjoyed the army, did you? Was it a tough time, or you enjoyed it and met some good people in the army? Or?
Well, I think it's a great time of my life.
Yeah.
I consider, well, it was 6 years. I think I learned a lot. I met really interesting people. They provide you another vision of the world. It's you saw. I have the opportunity to help people mainly in Lebanon that it was suffering from the conflicts and real conflicts. So they add a layer to your personality that it's okay. Some people need more help in the world, and I really enjoy it. And really enjoyed it. And at that age, I enjoyed the trainings, the uniforms. I was in the tanks unit, so I also get my license from tanks, drive tanks. I really enjoyed the trainings, and I was in Spain belongs to the NATO, so I was in the QRF, that is the quick reaction force when NATO enter in a conflict as a unit, as a organization. I was in the first force that go to provide the support the country that needed that, and was simulation at that time. I think now we are more in a context that probably this quick reaction force needs to be in place. I don't know, but yeah, I really enjoy it. But after 6 years, the things start to get repetitive. So I saw myself. I have a cap from my next rank. So my next rank in the Spain army was for I don't know how to say it, for antiquity, or if you have to spend 5 years in a rank to move to another rank. Okay, so I wasn't comfortable with that, so I decided to move this. I think it's time to leave the army and explore new opportunities and new experiences in the private sector.
So just quickly going back to the tanks. Let's hear more about the tanks. No, but so you started off with a sort of a more strategic role. So how come you ended up driving tanks?
Well, because this is a personal interest. Okay, I have the opportunity. We are in the mechanic. I don't know how to say. Well, in the corazado and this unit, supporting that unit. But to go to a mission, you can go to volunteer. Okay, we need some people that have this kind of license or have this kind of quality of this kind of these skills. So I've always tried to put myself volunteer to everything. So it's an opportunity to learn new things. And yeah, I get my license to M113, that it's like a tank, very versatile, because they could be an ambulance or could be also for troops moving in the fields. So yeah,
amazing.
And it was, as I say, it was supporting the force. We bring the ammunition, we bring the food, we bring the medicines. Preparing all the stuff that is behind the force.
And just a little, I'm always fascinated by experiences on the ground in conflicts. Not that I've been on any, but it's But with regards to Lebanon, I mean, did you did you learn much? Did you what kind of insights did you get from?
Well, I think that one of the main insights is it's better to get prepared for the situation before you are living that. So it's better always training to be prepared for any kind of situations. So previous of any mission, you spend like 8 to 6 months preparing for that, only training for that. Training in computer simulations, telecom situations, attacks, ambush, some things like this. So yeah, in Lebanon, when the first time we experienced a very tense situation because Hezbollah decides to launch some rockets to some positions of the Israeli defense, and the response of Israel was huge with artillery. So we have to go to the refuge, to the bunkers to protect for 1 day, all day there, hearing the bombs, feeling the ground, I don't know, shaking.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have to be prepared for things like this. But at that time, I really enjoy it at some point.
Yeah. Amazing.
Did you have any effects after the experience? I mean, any post-traumatic stress situation or anything like that? Or because I mean, it must be quite intense, like hearing rockets dropping around you.
Yeah, but I don't consider I have a trauma or something like this. I also dreamed with the army. Also, after 10 years of living, I dreamed with the army, but it's not like a nightmare. Don't remember like a nightmare. No, it's like a good experience at the end. And because the purpose not was a conflict itself, it was more like a humanitarian mission. And you have to be prepared for any situation because when you are in that tense moment, the things can go to any direction. So you have to be prepared for we have to go, we have to move, we have to stay, we have to keep calm, we have to protect someone, we have to let's prepare for any scenario.
And military service in Spain is not mandatory, is it? Or is it? Because I know some countries do make you take a year of military service or helping out in care homes and things like that, which I think...
Yeah, no, in Spain, Spain it's not. They remove it for the systems the early 20s, I think. I started the army in 2006.
Okay.
So it was like 5 years before I entered to the army.
It would be quite interesting to figure out where we might be in some of the people we've got in our country if we had to do a year's worth of military service.
Well, I think we need it. Yeah, but it's interesting because I showed the guys Strike Command, obviously.
Of course. Yeah,
obviously we live around a lot of...
Yeah, I really enjoy the split fires.
Yeah,
split fires.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So at what point did you feel that you were... Let's say you realised you kind of were looking for something new, because I guess you had travel, I guess you were still learning a lot. So, but what was it that you think sort of shifted?
Well, I think I knocked the roof of my rank.
Sorry, you said, yeah.
And the other thing is, this is going too repetitive. What could I expect of my next mission? I don't know. One of my main objectives when I joined the army was, I want to participate in this kind of missions, humanitarian missions. But after the second one, I decided, this is pretty the same as the first one, even more calm, even more, boring at some point. So I decided, let's find another opportunities. Also, in a income perspective, also I have I reached my top on that rank. I need to wait other 5 years to obtain more income. So I decided, it's a good time to change. When I present my applications to a master degree in supply chain management in Barcelona, they was, this is the first time we have a guy from the army. Let's try to let's see what happened. And then I have done the interview with the guy that is to pass the exams, or at least the interview to access the master. And yeah, as I mentioned before, I think the education is a key to open new doors and new opportunities. And always, I think this master opened me a great world to the private sector.
And so where did the supply chain stuff come from? Obviously, partly the army, but was it related to anything you were doing in Colombia, or was there any reason you went down into that? Because I have to be honest with you, I would not probably share the same passion as, I don't know, I just don't think I'm organized enough, but it's, but yeah, so what do you find, where did you find it sort of became interesting?
I think it was a organic evolution of things, but when you, after reevaluating and after evaluating my steps, I think what was with a good sense, I think, with a good direction, because from my origins from coffee and hearing my dad always, we are producers of coffee. My family produced coffee. We prepare improve the quality of coffees in origins, but always the consumer and the main consumers is in other countries. Even the bad coffee and the selection of the bad coffee is the own consumption in our country. That is insane. So while we are consuming bad coffee, we are exporting every good beans to other countries. And I think that made that created a base of my vision of the transportation, logistics. After that, I decided to sign with the army to a logistic unit. So I think when I moved to the master, I think was the right choice. So we continue developing when my strengths, or I consider my strengths, are that it's okay. This vision of understanding what is the process in origin, what is the operation needed to provide a service or provide a product, or put a product in one place to another, with a specific time, with specific conditions. So I think was an organic thing.
But I guess it sounds like you sort of had a curiosity from your family business of sort of understanding how those components fitted together and how they worked.
Yes. I think it's always the curiosity. Is to find the way to connect the right nodes and the right spots. And even now, I can continue exploring opportunities in the coffee sector. Now we are bringing some samples try to eliminate some nodes of the value chain of the coffee to try to connect the consumer with the producer in a more fair way. So I'm collaborating with some producers in Colombia to bring some samples to Europe and present it to different roasters, starting from Barcelona, and try to connect them between avoiding traders, avoiding unfair trades. So
I want to sort of, like, if it's all right, break from the linear story. I want to hear more about coffee, to be honest.
Okay.
So just going back a little bit with the family business.
Mm-hmm.
What was the family business, and I guess to bring it then up to your kind of coffee situation right now. So like, I guess it was the family business. It was, I guess, what generated the income, got you into private school. But what was the setup at home? How did it work?
Well, my family it's my dad is the traditional producer. It is like a.
And you said you're fourth generation.
Yeah, my fourth generation. But after generation, the family split the grounds. So now I think the majority of producers in Colombia are small producers for small acres. or small hectares. So we are focusing more on only in producing a good quality, because now in Colombia in the world of coffee there's two main branches. There is the Robusta and Arabica. That it's like a variety of coffees. In Colombia, traditional for the quality is the Arabica production. So we are focusing on production of this kind of coffee.
And that was the origin from the very beginning?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Since the beginning, we have a lot of issues, or my family have a lot of issues with plagues, with funguses that affect the harvest, and we call in the 70s. My family lived a huge opportunity that is, I don't know if in English the word, but it's the bonanza. That is like a huge, good market situation with a good production, with a great production in volume. So after that, this market in Colombia from coffee start to have a lot of difficulties. They start to project creating a future market prices. So that was a very disrupting for the producers. So the producers start to reduce their income. So that really create a constraints to handle the margins of not only for the employees but also for the owners of the land. So now I think we are trying, as this fourth generation, not only my family but also other generations of coffee producers, we are trying to transform this kind of situations. That is the objective, to connect the producer with the consumer, trying to avoid these old notes that through the years was developing and adding more cost at the end.
So just you mean the middle tiers of people that dealt with all the production and the supply chain, you mean? Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
yeah.
I think in the middle there's a lot of people, traders, agents that
who all put their margin on.
Yeah, and increase the price for the consumer.
Yeah.
So now I think we have the technology, we have the experience, we have the transportation availabilities to reduce that margins, and the ability to connect. I think we need people or the vision to integrate in a better way the producers with the roasters at the end, or even the consumers at the end. And
what's a typical production process for a coffee bean? I mean, how long does it take?
It's beautiful. It's
right.
Really, I think it's only in the most traditional way. You pick it handily. No, it's not any machines for the geography, because it's not for a tractor or any machine can pick up the beans from the tree. So it's very traditional. It's by hand. After that, you make a refinement of the product. You take the peel, you peel the beans, you wash it, you dry it, and at that point it's enough to export. But now some people are trying to explore, okay, let's toast it in origin and export in that stage. Because now, after wash it and dry it, you prepare it for export. And you export in that way, and the roasters are here in Destiny, in the consumption countries. So now the producers are trying, okay, I know my product, I know the quality of my beans, I know how to treat them, so why I'm not roasting in origin? So it's something like for the something that the people are looking for, the flavor of the coffee and Destiny, and at least here in Europe, they add a lot of they toast extra toast the coffee. So they are missing a lot of quality. They're burning in that toasting. They are burning a lot of flavors like blueberries, chocolate flavors, or other things, and even decreasing the quality of the coffee.
And that's to meet European trends or tastes. Is that why they do it?
Well, now this is the specialty coffee trend that you could find. Now, if you go to a traditional coffee shop, you could see a very dark coffee. If you go to a specialty coffee roaster, you could see, even compare the colors, and the coffee, specialty coffee is actually brown. This is no dark.
Right.
So this is like a visible comparison that you could do.
Okay.
Avoiding, even no tasting the coffee, and even more toasted is more, I don't know how to, more amargo. I don't know how to say it. Well, it's a different taste.
So it sounds like it's a little bit linked to just your passion of really delivering. Like, the problem you're trying to solve is just deliver a better product at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, get it back to sort of the roots that you grew up with, effectively.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you are in the right direction. I think my idea with this, or with my personal projects, it's to connect the producers.
Yeah.
To try to let the producers put a good quality coffee to the consumer.
And what is the setup that your family business has? Is it sort of, is it a big? Do you live? Do your parents still live on it? Is it, how does that work?
Well, my dad, my father still live with from that. Sorry, but the infrastructure is quite small.
Okay.
It's quite small. Yeah, it's only a machine to peel the beans and a place where to dry it. But our idea is in that stage, we need another partner to, manufacture or refine and in another way are the roast flavors to the coffee. So
yeah, amazing. So you're at this beginning of the journey. So your kind of business is, let's get the beans.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. And actually, I'm exploring another opportunities from the coffee waste generated here in Europe, at least in Spain. I'm working and collaborating with an informal entrepreneur from Colombia that is creating a new kind of material, textile material, from coffee waste. So. Actually, I have here the samples.
Yeah.
Peter, I will show you later.
Brilliant.
That it's like a textile similar to leather, to recovering the waste and transforming in new textiles for the textile industry, like clothes, shoes, anything like a clothes.
That's great. So just taking the coffee granules that have already been used to create the coffee and let's have a look. Look at that.
This is a bag.
Really strong as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And this is the other one.
It smells like coffee as well, which is good. Look at that.
Yeah. And so
it's like a leather.
So you kind of, how do you do it? So you push this down.
Yeah. It's like a leather.
So it's just compressed. How do they create this then?
I think it's a secret for me also.
Okay. It's cool though. You like it?
It's really cool.
But I mean, there must, think about all the high street coffee chains and how much of that gets wasted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that
it's quite strong as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also a huge opportunity in the also our people exploring how to handle the waste of coffee.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of thousands of towns producing this waste in Europe. So how can you recover this and transform and upcycling in a new product?
Not only the high street coffee chains, but also domestically. I mean, I know it's not the same volume, but we still have enough in our waste bin every day. From coffee.
Yes. There's a lot of new startups that are exploring how to recover capsules, but they are recovering the aluminum or the metals from the capsules.
You're not going to break that. It's super strong.
No, because I mean, obviously the capsules and espresso capsules, for example, they take quite a bit of space, and then we have them collected, on a regular basis, whatever. But I don't know what happens to them after that. But there must be a lot of wastage.
Yes, there's a lot of waste, and one of the advantages of this kind of waste in restaurants or in the coffee shops is they don't mix it with other waste, because they have only the bean or the liter for coffee, so it's quite easy to recover this waste. And with solutions like this, you could transform and also could create a business model that I recover your waste, and I return your value in data from, for example, you are reducing your environment damage, you are reducing your gas emissions, or all related also with this carbon credit market. Could be a great opportunity there.
Reducing dependency on materials that take a lot more effort to be produced as well. But that's interesting then, because that puts you at the beginning of the coffee process and also right at the very end after people consumed it.
Well, as I mentioned, I consider the studies a door to a new world. So a couple of years ago, I studied executive education from Cambridge in sustainability and circular economy strategies. So these ideas brings from there to circular economy. It's a new trend, but it's not a trend. I think it's a need to change the way we consume, we handle our waste, and how integrate. You have to apply a system vision to things. So I combine my passion, I combine my knowledge from supply chain. Let's put it in. This is the value chain from coffee. Where are the nodes where I can make a change? I have contacts in Colombia. I'm producing in Colombia. I'm here in Barcelona. I'm here in Europe, watching and testifying that this is a huge problem. This is a missing opportunity. How can we transform this in a business opportunity?
It's a great idea. When you consider, I mean, I don't know what the statistics are on daily coffee consumption around the world.
Well, yes. But I don't know the amount of coffee, but from the example here in UK, the average person that consumes good coffee, it's like 5 kilos per year. So a lot. I think 70% of the people consume coffee around the world. And if you go more to the north, there is more above 8 kilos per person. In Spain, it's 5 kilos per year. So, there's as I say, there's 1 million of tons of waste of coffee. How we can grasp this and can recover at least 1%. It's like how is your part to be more sustainable? How is your part or your actions to be more active on this sense?
Yeah, I think as a consumer, people walk into the coffee shop or have their daily cup, but they don't think about the before and the after. They just want to have their daily fix, and then afterwards, whether it's the plastic cup or the coffee granules, they don't really care about that. But I think they should be a lot more conscious of it. I think it's a really good idea. Yeah.
And what makes a good cup of coffee for you?
Well, I think it's plain, no sugar, no milk, and coffees with specialty coffees, because it's not espresso, because espresso is too roasted for me. Then too bitter. I think that was the word. And in the early mornings, I think the first coffee in the morning, I think, is the best coffee. When you have this 10 minutes to prepare your coffee and, I don't know, sit and sometimes read a news, sometimes read a X post or something like this, I think is the best coffee.
Yeah. So it's actually what's interesting is you're explaining the experience as opposed to the actual coffee itself, which is interesting considering that we all work in innovation. So which we'll come to, but yeah, super fascinating. I mean, I love coffee. I think I've stopped drinking it as much because it's like we've never invested in a bean to cup machine, so we've gone down an espresso. Is Nespresso for you like the devil, or is it like?
Well, they have a lot of space to improve. Yeah.
Depends if they buy your beans or not, doesn't it?
Yes, because in that capsules, you don't know what is inside.
Yeah.
You are trusting in the brand, but Nespresso, I don't know if it's only a brand thing and I don't know, a poshy thing to. I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting that you guys both opted for tea rather than an espresso. I didn't really sell it. I said all we have is Nespresso.
Tells its own story, doesn't it? I really fancy coffee now. Actually.
Yeah.
It's too late. I won't be able to sleep tonight.
So amazing. So I guess I think we'll come back to this. But so going back to the linear order of things. So you did the masters in. So how long was that? How long did that take? It was.
Well, the first master was 1 year and a half, because I made part time. I was working and made the master. The second one was 7 months.
Okay.
And this Cambridge education was 3 months, actually.
Okay. So so recently we've had masters, PhDs. We need to buck our ideas up a little bit.
Yeah, it's not a good ratio, is it? That's about the 7th masters we've had in two episodes. Yeah.
BA honours over here.
Me too.
Yeah, it doesn't cut the mustard.
No, that's why we're doing this.
So what did you study in the masters? What was the course? It was
the coast.
Yeah. The course. The subject.
I saw in the supply chain management master, I saw productions, I saw new business models, also demand, so find the demand and offer, that I don't know exactly the name. Also people management, we saw it in that master. Quality, how you can handle the quality, and service improvements, I think.
Amazing. So what happened next? So I guess the idea was get those additional qualifications and then push forward into a private sector, I guess.
Yes. I think it's the experience and the knowledge that a master and the education provide you. The idea is to apply in the private sector. So any company that is looking for project managers or that are looking to find improvements on their supply chain could use this kind of knowledge. And I started this master in supply chain in 2015, but now the trends are more redirection this supply chain to more applying to sustainability principles, how you can reduce your carbon footprint in your operations, how you could improve your services through the supply chain. After the pandemic, this concept of supply chain start to gain more value inside companies. Even the roles from supply chain manager was in the 2015-14 was, okay, this is the guy from logistics, only of the warehouse guy. No, now it's actually gaining a lot of relevance inside companies, even achieving C levels.
That's a super good point, because I don't think I heard supply chain more than I heard it during COVID, because obviously the biggest knock-on effect was, this is the thing. If we actually had a even worse virus, like 5% case fertility rate, the thing everyone says is supply chain falls down. And obviously then supply chain falls down, people don't get food, people don't get toilet roll. But so I think even from a very layman or like a very simplistic perspective, I've noticed supply chain, just the volume it's become to the surface during COVID has been massive. Yes,
I think so too. I think so. We with COVID, we understand we are in a connected world. We are dependent of produce in China, produce in India, produce in Latin America, and we have we are very how know what to say. We are living in a very volatile world and uncertainty. So there is any aspect or any critic situation in the world could affect your products that you are consuming. So after the COVID, came this problem with this huge ship that cross and block the Suez Channel.
The Suez Canal.
So we have the war in Ukraine that increased the price of cereals and fertilizants.
Yeah.
It was random. The impacts, wasn't it? Like car parts as well that were manufactured in some places and then just caused car prices to skyrocket.
For example, when these blocks in this ship blocks like only for 10 days.
Yeah.
But the increase of the shipment increase in 10 days. So imagine the cost for a company that, for example, in automotive sector, mostly the companies operate in a concept that is just in time. They avoid the stock pieces of the car in the storage. So they calculate in a very good way. Okay, we are in this is line producing line. We need to this part of the engine. We need to put it that day. Okay, if this doesn't arrive, there will be effect, and we create a bottleneck in the production lines. So this increase the cost. This affect salary from people that we need to stop this line of production because we don't have enough materials or raw materials to produce. Okay, we don't need these people for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So this affects people. So at the end, if you try to put this systemic view on things, you understand we are all that are very interconnected. So I think supply chain allows me to admit this kind of vision on things.
Yeah. And so where did you go after the qualifications? So you mentioned Unilever earlier. Did you go straight there, or was there somewhere before? Or
yes, I started during the master. They have a very good employee relationship with the companies in Barcelona, and I entered with my internship in the supply chain team from Unilever. Actually, it was a very great experience because I entered in a summer, and there was a disruption in that supply chain, and they missed the season from ice creams. So I entered in a project to improve and identify the problems on the supply chain from ice creams, and we identified that the mistake was, or the great issue was, the difference between the hours between when a client asks on order request a supply from ice creams, and how the distribution centers and the production center handle this order. So this creates a huge difference between supply and demand.
Is this why you think Unilever are getting rid of their ice cream business? Did you read
I don't know.
Did you read about that?
No, I didn't have idea of that. Yeah, probably of that.
They're selling it off, so it sounds like they just can't be bothered anymore.
Probably because it's very expensive. The distribution centers consume a lot of energy because they have to handle temperatures. They produce at least in Spain, they produce in the north, and they have only 24 hours to live to put that product in the stores. So it's complex. It's mainly for this temperature control. It's quite important, but also quite tense for the companies.
But it's fascinating, isn't it? Because if you think, I don't think many people know how many brands Unilever owns. I mean, obviously the obvious one is Marmite. I think they own Olivio. So that's my mornings taken care of. Bread.
Yes.
But yeah, they obviously own right across the spectrum of, like aerosols.
Yeah, aerosols.
Cleaning products. Yeah.
Oils. It's
You name it.
soaps,
everything.
creams.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I was only in the area of this supply chain problem. Yeah, I entered for this specific project, but the company is huge.
Yeah. It's 100,000 people, maybe more, or
I think more. I
Yeah,
think
it's more,
1,500 people. I think 1,000 people.
Yeah.
I think in Barcelona, I think was on 3,000 people only in the headquarters of Barcelona.
So funnily enough, they were my first client at Golden Gecko. So yeah. It took me 6 months to land a project, and then I landed Unilever. So
What category?
so it was with a guy I'm still in contact with, Mark, who they worked in a special unit within Unilever that was around like healthy lifestyle swapping. So like behavior change. So like super interesting, actually, really consumer psychology. Like, but yeah, so their job was like a special unit within Unilever to try and create new products, but sort of more, let's say, holistic, sort of more all-rounded products using digital. So it wasn't with regards to actually their products. It was, I'm sure I can say it, it was a product called Smart Swaps. So, you know, the idea was to link the back end with sort of a lot of different product data and integrate that with sort of then a front end that could then say, okay, this product's got, you know, these red flags in terms of saturated fat or salt, and then why don't you try and swap it out for this? So yeah. Interesting. So awesome. So Unilever, then what happened next?
Well, at that time, came to me another offer from Bart, that is this healthcare manufacturer that provide like nets from surgeries, like artificial veins, consumables for cancer treatments, and it's a huge company too. It's an American company. They at that time they have the headquarters here in UK. I was in the Iberian delegation that is controlling the Spain and Portugal market, and our distribution center was in Belgium. And also was a great experience. At that time, I didn't consider that was a sustainability project, but after evaluating and make a reflection on that, I participated in a project to reduce the stock and make a redistribution of the stocks in the Iberia delegation to increase the financial margins. So this was some products have a expiry date, so it was a huge lack of money or waste of money for that company when you leave that devices of equipment in the hospital and they just expired. So we try to make an analysis to what is the real consumption of each stock keeping unit, that is the reference in the supply chain when you are talking about one product itself, and analyzing each SKU to find the right place to put it in that time. We are talking here about critic products because the storage or the warehouses are where the surgery rooms in each hospital. So you have always to have product there, but you have to find that balance between I can't put 10 products when only consume one. So I'm trying to find this point between the service level that we are providing and also the financial health of the delegation. So I participated in this project for reducing a stock optimization project. It was coordinating by the distribution center in Belgium, and I was in charge of the operations in Barcelona and across the Portugal and Spain. Was for 500 hospitals, and was a very successful project. Actually, we reduced in a 43% our stocks without affecting the service level that we reached. Was very. We was recognized as a best practice project that the company replicates in other delegations for Greece, Italy, that is other part of the south of the Europe, and we have a good results there. Excellent
Amazing.
result.
I'm amazed at the variety of the products that you've touched, or the experience that you've had. You talked about coffee beans. We talked about driving tanks, making handbags out of the coffee beans, Marmite, and now artificial veins in hospitals. Incredible, really, isn't it?
Well, I think yes, I really enjoy to understand different industries.
Yeah.
I think I enjoy that. I try to invest myself as an internship sometimes in the internship mindset. Okay, I'm new on this. I put myself all my efforts here to learn to get above of the rest.
Medical supplies, reducing the stock levels. I mean, that's a critical project right there, isn't it? Like you say, if you're reducing it and it has an impact on availability, then it's fatal.
Sometimes people say, "Hey, we are not medics. We are not saving lives here." But I take this role as something like this because, okay, if a doctor is in the middle of a surgery and they don't have the stock necessary to save the life of a person, who is the responsible here? Yeah. So.
Wow. But it sounds that almost everything you're going into it with a passion, and obviously what actually you're doing is meaningful change. As in, it doesn't sound like these things are just jobs for you.
It's more than jobs.
Yeah.
I think I try to compromise myself as it's a professional thing, but also. Trying to enjoy it, your job, and trying to take seriously with responsibility, with commitment, and also I think that all these things comes with an extra effort from yourself. So and also the return of that investment is huge. Experience, money, lessons, layers of experience that you handle with people. Not always there's a good people or easy people. So, yeah.
Where do you think you learned that mindset? Do you think it was natural or... Because obviously not everybody has that mindset.
I think it's from reflection after living each experience. So after living, one job, another job, I try to have enough time to reevaluate my task, my learnings, what I can learn from this experience, and trying to apply in the next one. So, it's like an evolution, I think, and improving mindset. Always try to the things can do better and I try to apply that philosophy.
Do you think this is something that came from your upbringing, something it's just in you, or?
I don't know. I think it's from me. I think it's some advice, also some personal development books, also exchange experience with my wife. So it's like we are trying to generate some conversation that improve ourselves.
Have you got any books you'd recommend on this? Without putting you on the spot.
Well, the first that came to my mind was one of the reasons that is from one prize novelist, Hermann Hesse, the German writer, that it's Siddhartha, that it's how do you discover your inner self. So
I haven't heard of this, so this is a good start. So you've given me something to read. Okay,
it's based on an Indian philosophy, but I don't know. I think you could connect with any writer or reader. Sorry.
Yeah, amazing.
We'll maybe put the link to the book in the description of the episode because it'd be good for people to be able to see that.
Actually, it was a recommendation from my wife. So
There we go.
Well, so one of the things which actually I think we connected on early was Ikigai, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ikigai.
I love that book.
Yeah. Really, I think it comes, it touches upon also the one that Robert is mentioning in terms of putting into practice that knowledge. What I liked about Ikigai was actually bringing it down to your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
And how you can apply it, not only staying in the more philosophical part of things, and even though it's from two different cultures completely, they talk to each other somehow.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about Ikigai when Alberto was talking about, we were talking about how much you throw yourself into your jobs and your work, and it feels like you've tackled it with with a lot of gusto and really thrown yourself into each role that you've done, which is fantastic. One of the writers of Ikigai was from Barcelona, I think, wasn't he? Yeah, I forget his name, but yeah.
They went on a long trip to Japan and actually picked up on the philosophy and then brought it back to us to actually apply it on our day to day.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. I think you can complement yourself not only with reading your professional books, but also books that allows you to develop your personal growth, self-development. Another I think is great for me is like from Robert Kiyosaki. That is Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah, amazing.
Okay, it's a classic, I think.
Really good.
But this also allowed me to think about, think outside the box. Okay, try to go, move from this rat race that he mentioned in his book, and try to, how you can outstand.
It's very aligned with this podcast. I mean, I think that's one book which I didn't read until 2 years ago, and I just, there's a couple of others I just got given. It's not all about money, but there was a book I was given recently called The Money Mindset, and also The Rich Guy Next Door or something like that. But it's a classic, like from like 1998 or something. But again, it's not about money; it's more about mindset. And again, I think very aligned with this podcast is, I wish I'd read Rich Dad Poor Dad at 18 because it would have completely reshaped decisions that I'd made.
Yes.
As much as I don't regret the situation I'm in, like we were saying in the car earlier, it's how could you flip some of those key decisions into more intentional ways? Yeah.
Actually, I think I'm rereading the book again because you can extract new insights after reading everything. Yeah.
I've read Ikigai about 3 times and I had the audiobook on in the car last week.
Great.
But I put a copy of Rich Dad Poor Dad in my son's room and I will my daughter and get them to read it. They haven't read it yet, but I will make sure they read it.
Yeah, I think it's quite easy to read in early ages.
Yeah.
I think it's a good advice. I think now I'm realizing that this financial and how you can handle your personal finance, this kind of books brings another perspective from the traditional way.
Yeah. But the growth mindset is key. We talk about this all the time. Having a growth mindset and being open to lots of different ideas and different influences. I think it's a great way to live your life because we never stop learning, right?
Yeah. If I may, I could add another book.
Yeah, of course.
Brian Tracy, The Power of Self-Discipline. I'm reading right now, so it's like how you can define your purpose or find your purpose, identify with your values, and how you can create a plan to achieve your goals. So there is the basic concepts I'm reading right now, but it's quite engaging, the book.
Amazing. I haven't read it, so yeah. I mean, this is also our logic with the podcast: is everybody needs more content, right? So, but no, I just think, I don't know. I think the challenge for me is I probably listen. I'm an audiobook guy. I'm not a reader, which I wish I was better at reading, but I just stay more engaged with audiobooks. But I think the key for me is just making sure you apply what you learn. I think that's my challenge, is to keep the discipline to not just become a soundbite, but actually do it. But I think I just honestly don't think I'll ever stop, even if I'm lucky enough to get to that age. If I'm 90, I still think I'll be reading these types of things. And I do find it. I don't know if it's a defense mechanism, but a lot of people seem to want to get fixed and sort of stop learning or stop evolving.
Yes, or sometimes things, okay, I'm achieving, or I reach my objective, and that's it. No, I think in each step of or a stage of your life, you always trying to pursue new things. I don't know, my goals from my 20s are not the same that my late 30s right now. So, and I want to not to be the same in my 40s. So I want to continue evolving and growing as a person, growing as a professional, and trying to be at the end to be a better person.
We were talking before the recording, talking about growing as a person. That obviously travel's had a big impact on both of you. So, what would you say you've learned from all your moves traveling? I mean, traveling's been a big part of your lives, right?
Yes. I think it's, if you compare with, I made this comparison to understand the difference, that it's the perception of life when you go abroad and have the experience to live in another country, to exchange experience with other cultures, allows you to expand your context and expand your vision of the world. So this inevitable will develop a new characteristic on you, add another perspective of the world. So I think it's, if when I have kids at some time in the future, my idea is always to travel with them, because I want to. I consider we live in a world that is very connected, very easy to reach at some points. So how not to do that? Why not to do that? So it's important to travel and visit, and not only as a tourist. I think you need to put in a place, to immerse in a culture, learn it, hear the people, avoiding your perception of social classes, and learn not only for the seller in the street, but also with the son of ambassador. Hear everything, grasp the best thing of your listening, and I think all people in the world is quite interesting. So everyone have a interesting story to tell.
It's a great answer, by the way. Thanks for that. Yeah. I could never have articulated that well. I think it's fantastic, but I completely agree. And it bashes down the preconceptions, cultural preconceptions that sometimes people have. Mm-hmm. They may see something on the news and have a preconceived idea of what a culture or a country is like, and then you get there and realise that it's full of wonderful people, and it's far from the truth. So,
thank you.
Absolutely brilliant. And for what it's worth, my kids are bored of me telling them that they should go and travel. I've tried to drum it into them all their lives, but I think because I believe it's so important for personal development, and and what you learn off the back of it's amazing. And what about Barcelona? For anyone that's not been to Barcelona, I mean, what a great place to be. You've been there 12 years.
Yes, it's amazing. I think it's like a most
wonderful city. Yeah.
Yes, I think it's on the edge of design, in the edge of innovation, of technology. So living there also nurse myself as this vision of citizen of the world. I think it's amazing when you walk through any street of Barcelona, the type of languages, the different accents, the different languages you can hear it. And you don't understand anything, and you are not putting in the other the conversation of the other people. But this is like this is a huge world. So it's beautiful, and this is great sensations in living there.
I think also just I mean I agree with Barcelona, but I think also what's really interesting for me is that sort of conflict between over comfort and life decisions. So I guess what I'm trying to touch on is, you know, we were talking earlier about living around here. It's very, very comfortable. It's super safe. You know, it's a very aspirational, you know, people want to move here. But one of the dangers is it's almost really not challenging enough, you know, as in, okay, yes, you've got to keep up with the Joneses, whatever, you got to do the career thing. But I think almost what I'm sensing is the situation you found in Colombia, you know, as a child, some of the adversity has completely flipped your mindset into a positive. And I think that's the other thing, which is that sort of, you know, if you avoid discomfort, you know, do you actually get, you know, do you get to have the perception you have?
Yes, I think this comfort zone that sometimes we put it as a person, at some point you get tired of that, and you get extra comfort, as you say, and you have to break the wall of this fear of the change. So sometimes came to you, or on other times you pursue it. So in my childhood, they came to me, and they forced me to, okay, this is not my comfort zone. Move to another place, find your own space, and now in my life, I think now I'm pursuing to break that wall, and okay, let's break this fear. Okay, let's try new things. For example, this is my first time doing a podcast. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, I could tell when I met you at the airport earlier. I just sensed a positive, open-minded
Think.
instantly. I don't know what it was, and I can usually be a bit guarded actually at first, and you know, like, but it's just could tell with you guys, obviously, you know. But I could tell very quickly, it's like, okay, this is going to be a good day. Like,
yes.
And obviously now hearing this story, it gives you the color as to why. And again, just a completely, let's say, random, not random, but you know what I mean. It's like, you know, we had a conversation a month ago that's now led us to this, that then now puts you in my lounge. It's like, you know.
Sliding doors.
Yeah. That's super cool. So, obviously, one of the things which I picked up from the experience with sorry, I forgot the name, but the healthcare company. What it sounds like is it gave you an insight into business change, or into sort of how supply chain can then actually create, let's say, top line results, or you know, can actually is that where it started to open your eyes in terms of
but it is as. When you reach a position in a company, you start to executing things, and okay, mainly when you in some positions, more like execution positions, but after you reevaluate your task and your job, you understand your impact, your real impact. So after this experience, I understand the value of optimizing the supply chain, the huge impact that this have in the profits and losses of in this case, a delegation, but at the end of the company. So, and I think after this relevance that the supply chain concept start to gain in the private sector and the companies, I could understand. Okay, my studies and my experience could be more relevant right now than before. So I decided at the time I decided to end that job for a personal issue. I mean, a family that I need to solve in that moment. So after that, I moved to another position more related with logistics. That was for Mechalux, this company that built automation warehouses for big companies like Inditex, Mango, Lactalis Malmo, that is like a fast-moving consumer goods from the north. And it was a company that allows me to expand the vision of the world, because they have projects in US, projects in Brazil, in Chile. They want to start exploring the market of Asia market. So trying this strategy of merchant acquisitions, companies from there, they have this financial muscle enough. And actually, we experienced at some point how some companies from China try to buy the company. So living in all this aspect of corporations inside the company.
Yeah, literally the very interior workings of a business.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So in that moment in Spain was going out from the huge crisis. So the company could survive at that time only for export things, or export the knowledge, export the materials, and at that moment the market of Spain just starting to moving.
Amazing. And I guess I think what a lot of people like, I have a friend also who's going to be coming on the podcast who is a trader. So I always get if he's a broker or a trader the wrong way around. But the reality is that what I don't think people understand is how geopolitics, global situations, e.g. the Suez Canal, it genuinely impacts like people. I don't think people quite connect how, if things can't move around the world, it's like, why is my energy bill so high, or why is this happening, or it's real life is actually shaping companies.
Yes. I think it's a good exercise there. That it's even it's a tool. The Petzl analysis. That is, you analyze the political, the economics, the technology, the environment, and the legal things that affects a situation and a scenario. And I think this is an innovative perspective or innovation perspective that you could put it in an analysis. So I could understand this after another study, as another master degree in business innovation and strategy, and it's great and it's a powerful tool that allows you to understand the complex of the situation. Because we could talk about politics, but it's not a politics podcast, but we could talk about the war. We could talk about the conflicts between the elections in the US, how could affect the prices of the things. You could see, how the stocks and even the environment now, for example, how the price of the cocoa, it's the same as coprum right now because the climate change. So you could analyze a situation in a way that, if I'm the decision maker inside of company, how can this change or decision could affect my company, my revenue, my team? So it's only for create a conceptual way to analyze a situation.
And what did you sort of hope to learn from a business strategy and innovation masters? Like what sort of gravitated you towards it, and like what did you hope the outcome would be?
Yeah, well, I try to make these masters to expand and try to gain more knowledge to make better decisions. So in an innovative way, in that moment, Mechalux was a very traditional company, a family-owned company. It was a big company, and it's a big company, but with a very traditional processes and very hierarchy organization. So this vision of and knowledge in innovation and business strategy allows me to jump to another role. Like I'm developing myself right now as a business designer, and yeah, you could I extract from there a lot of knowledge, a lot of insights regarding how you can understand a company from the the organization and the process they have, also the products that they providing or creating, and how can you improve the product, but also the service that you are providing. So it's and how you can retain a client, or how you can make great agreements that doesn't affect your production. So it's a framework also that there is 10 types of innovation from Dublin that is quite useful to apply when you want to make a innovation project inside a company. So you analyze his strengths, you analyze your production, you analyze your revenue and your incomes, your projections, but also your product, and even your product could be connected with another products. For the example, it's iPhone. It could connect with the earphones, the iWatch. So this is the product system, how you can analyze this. And this and the other part is, okay, how can I improve my services as a company? How can I retain, how can I provide more value to my customers to increase my incomes? So this is a powerful tool also that is I don't know, is quite well known from people. And yeah, and my experience in as a project manager allows me to apply very well this. So there's a concept of critical path from when you are trying to organize and prioritize your projects, and mainly in when you're trying to launch different innovation projects. Now, okay, this project, how you can prioritize, how the efforts and the amount of money you dedicate as company in each of them, and how this impacted at the end the results of the company.
Yeah, so revenue, efficiency.
Yeah. Retention, engagement of the customers, increase your client base. Well, the list is endless.
Amazing. So, like, what's a typical engagement look like? What's a typical project, or how does that look?
Well, mainly start with the creation of a proof of concept. I try to analyze and understand pretty well the needs of the client, what they want to achieve with an innovation project, what are the efforts that they want to put on it, money, what are the expecting results they want to achieve in the short, in the middle, and the long term, and also, okay, what is the impact they want to generate. I'm trying to, when I participate in projects, I always try to put a sustainability point of view. Could be circular economy, could be energy efficiency, reduce stocks, based on my experience, and at the end present different alternatives or area of opportunities where the company could, okay, let's explore this, and try to create a great engagement with them, okay, and involve them in the process. And actually, of course, trying to keep the client on the top of mind. But I think it's more a role of a service designer. I think it's a difference between a service designer and a business designer. Sometimes the roles overlap, but in this classic diagram, Venn diagram that you saw, the product, the business, and the people, I think if the business designer moves more for the side of the profitable or the side of the business, the product and the efficiencies, and of course without avoiding keep the client in the loop.
Amazing. So that brings us to the current day. So that's you now, right?
Yeah. Right now I recently participate in a project with Philip Morris International, and in another project I was helping a group of founders to create a data as a service project or software from carbon capture and carbon measurement. To now there's a huge regulation now putting in place in Europe, that is the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, that is a law that in the next year will obligate the companies to report the emissions. So there's a huge opportunity there, because the companies they are not used to measure that. So I was helping to create the concept, improve the product, defining the right segment to achieve with the solution. So yeah,
amazing. And so, sorry, I feel like I'm stealing all the questions.
Go for it. I'm used to it.
So where do you sort of, where do you see, maybe you don't know, but like what are you hoping for? Like how do you see things progressing?
Well, I think on my end I'm pursuing this project that I'm developing right now with the coffee, new textiles with the coffee waste. But I think that need a lot of investment of time, also to find the right partners, probably a good business angel at some point. I'm presenting some different programs right now from entrepreneurships, supporting entrepreneurs, advisors, mentors, and this stuff. But it's a concept of bootstrapping. I need to have another continued developing my professionals business design jobs. Mm-hmm. So I'm pursuing new projects at this moment, but I'm fully dedicated right now until the next opportunity.
Amazing. And I mean, I think for me, the amazing takeaway and insights is the journey, right? It's pretty varied. And I guess it sounds like you've kind of intentionally made it that way.
Embraced it along the way.
Yeah, I think it's an exploration. When you are the jungle, open your path. So, but I think the idea of you have to motivate yourself and try to maintain and self-confidence on the things you are doing, because sometimes you have an inside voice. You say you are failing, you are not doing the right thing. This imposter syndrome, mm-hmm. I think. But yeah, you have to put it yourself and trust in yourself in the things you are doing. And I'm creating that path at this moment.
I was going to say, not only your career path has been varied, but also you've just talked about the projects that you're working on now. They're completely varied as well.
Yeah.
It's just an array of different stuff that's keeping you going and keeping you interested, which is brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's fascinating. Is that your project with the waste for the coffee, or is it something that you're working with someone else? Or
yes, I'm working with a guy from Colombia. The last year, this is another thing that I after analyze myself, talking with some people. And it's a situation where you travel and you are forced to live in another country. There you at some point you doesn't recognize yourself where you belong. So I identified that I need to find a connection with Colombia, with my roots. So this is the last year I collaborate with the Enterprise Europe Network, that it's an organization that belongs to the European Commission, they focus on help SMEs to connect each other, to find opportunities, to make R&D connections between and collaborations. And they opened a new office the last year in Colombia. And I offered myself, why don't we present your services to coffee producers, to universities in Manizales, in my hometown. So I traveled there, I organized the event, I sent invitations, prepared the panelists, prepare all the logistics for the ambassadors. We bring 2 ambassadors from Finland and the European Union in Colombia to Manizales to present the services of the network. And in that context, I met this guy. This is an informal entrepreneur. They say, hey, I'm making this kind of materials. The country situation is not, it's not seeing my potential. Okay, but I believe in your products. So we start continuing conversations, and finally I get these samples. So my idea is to start presenting some people in the textile industry or even in other industries to, okay, check these materials, give me your feedback. You believe in this? How do you see it? Where do you see applied? So now I'm here in London. I present this to an architecture company to, okay, how can we apply this kind of materials in the interior design things? Because it's not only for clothes or textiles, could be applied for other industries.
Yeah.
So
need to get them on Dragon's Den.
Yeah, but what I love about that though is it's just you're making stuff happen from nothing. Like that's what, again, it's the open mindset. It's like, cool, all right, here's this thing that then leads to that thing, then it leads to that thing. And I think it takes a lot of bravery actually to all right, okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think it's not only a personal thing, it's also the support you could have. And as I say, my wife is quite supportive to me, to my ideas, and now I'm exploring this opportunity, and I believe in it, but I'm trying to be more conscious of the effort that it could be represent. But I try to put invest all of myself on this. Let's see what happens. I gave me at least 3 or 4 months to explore, to validate the market, and learn and gain all the feedback that I could grasp from the people on these kind of programs, and in the middle hope to find the commercial opportunity there.
But also what's really nice is actually someone bringing a physical sample and a product.
Yeah.
You know, it's I don't know. It's just it's, you know, you're living it. It's passion. It's in your mind, and it's cool. Like, you know, it's not something you experience all the time. You know, just like, yeah, I've got some samples with me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is kind of efforts that you are your own brand and your own product. So I'm expecting some shoes. So I will made by coffee textiles.
Yeah.
So probably the next time that we met, you will see the shoes.
That would be fantastic. We should have another follow-up podcast in a year's time to see how it's going.
Yeah.
Okay, give me 1 year to see what happens.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Fantastic insight. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we'll be having paella as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
We're expecting you in Barcelona, of course.
So I'm really interested in your normal question at this stage.
I've been thinking about that. Yeah. So we normally end the podcast on a question, and I'm going to ask you the question to see what your answer is, and that is if you could go back to your young self living in Colombia and knowing what you know now and the journey that you've been on, which is a fantastic journey, and you've learned a lot clearly over the time. And you could give yourself one piece of advice, your younger self. What would that piece of advice be?
Excellent question. I think study not only for your professional interest, but also for your professional development, more for your self-development. I think be open to hear your advice and be prepared, because sometimes will be good, sometimes will be tough. So just prepare for that.
Amazing.
Yeah, great answer. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
I mean, thank you for doing this at such short notice.
10 minutes notice.
Yeah. But again, I think it's a great demonstration of your mindset. You know, just
Thank you.
It's really kind of you just to open up your background and. But also, you know, we literally met at Terminal 3. That's the doorbell. We met at Terminal 3 at 7:30 this morning.
Yes.
So it's very cool.
No,
Cool.
It's a pleasure to have this opportunity and this podcast. The very interesting questions from you, and yeah, I was like an open book to share with you my experience, my life path, I think. So more than happy to share, and I hope
amazing.
this.
Thank you very much. It's been great to meet you, and maybe when you start your podcast, you can have us on. Or come on your podcast, because I'm sure that's coming soon.
For sure.
Yeah, you've got plenty to talk about. So no, it's great to meet you. Thank you very much for giving us that insight. It's fascinating. So yeah, it's really interesting to hear your journey and how you've kind of quite early on you said about how things aren't always easy, and you've seen that you learn from that, and you talked about layers of experience, and I think it's a really interesting attitude and mindset to have, given the background that you've had, and so, there have been some tough times, but lots of fantastic times as well. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you really for this space, the opportunity, and listen my stories.
Yeah.
Muchas gracias.
Con mucho gusto.
Oh, superb.
Wow.
Wow, what an amazing conversation.
Incredible. You met the guy this morning at the airport for the first time, and within 10 minutes you clocked the fact that he was such an awesome guy to speak to, and a fascinating journey, and within 10 minutes decided, I asked him off the cuff if he'd do his first ever podcast recording. It sounded like he'd been recording them all his life.
Honestly, it was really weird. I haven't had this in a long time, but literally from the first second I met him and shook his hand, I just had a really good feeling. And yeah, when brought them back to the house, I can't remember if we mentioned it on the podcast, but obviously Maria Victoria and I worked together. Just knew straight away, just from the way that he was conversing and engaging, that he'd have a really exciting story. And I thought what was amazing, about what came out of that conversation was just, there's so much to process, but just how that adversity from the beginning of his story, how he already knew and had learned to turn that into a positive, translate that into then a new life in Spain, and obviously, as we heard, all of the amazing twists and turns, and amazing career, and now a breeding entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely. He's so eloquent, articulate in the English language, which is his second language, and it puts me to shame the way he used the grasp of the English language. He was just, a really fascinating journey. And like you say, I think from the first few minutes, the adversity, you could just hear he used it as a mechanism to drive him forward. The positive, every cloud has a silver lining, even though some of the things he's had to endure is him and his family. And he's so strategic in the way he moves and purposefully points himself in the right
intentional
direction. Yeah. He talks about the layers of experience and the books he's read, and he knew pretty earlier on that education was his way out, and he just tries to educate and better himself. And he's a young guy, and it's just fascinating. Really, really enjoyed that chat, and really pleased to meet him and make his acquaintance, and look forward to seeing where he ends up on his journey in the next 5 to 10 years. Maybe we should get him back and have a conversation to see where he's been, because I'm sure he'll go to some fantastic places and have more stories to tell.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'm really excited to see where he goes. I have no question that he's going to be successful. So yeah, brilliant, fantastic conversation with Roberto. So up next, we've got some really exciting conversations coming. We're also going to do, which could become a regular theme on There's Another Way, a midweek special with Pete, who is running the London Marathon this Sunday, which is obviously very exciting for everyone involved. So we're going to be doing a London Marathon special, which I'm really excited about. I'm not excited for Pete about running it, although actually he's done so much training. I think he's in a great spot. So all the best, Pete, with that. That's going to be amazing and a great experience, no question. And yeah, we just want to give some realistic insights, a little bit of background onto why Pete is doing it. I think it should be really interesting. And then moving forwards, we've got what have we got? We've got some business discussions. We've got some
A lady that started an incredible charity. I'm so excited about that one. That's coming up.
charity one. We've got Toby coming up, who's a life coach and motivational consultant. We've got
Many more.
many more. So many, in fact, which we're so excited about. And there's too many to remember. So, yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. Please do us a favour and follow and share and spread. We're building up some nice momentum now. Still trying to push those stories out, give people good inspiration, reasons to think about the path that they're on and be more intentional, just like Roberto. Yeah, please share, follow, all of that stuff. And until next week, there's another way.
To celebrate. Hey, I'm scrolling up your feed, it's me, but can't you filter out